Okay. Screen's back. Screen's back. We're live.
We're live?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know there was another truck coming there, guys. We are back. Please subscribe. Be able to comment on this live stream. Put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe. Put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe. Put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Like, comment, and share. We are here to exercise our right to protest. We are here to exercise our right to film from public land. We are here purely to film the animals going inside this evil place today, to show the world what happens, to show the world and shine a light on a darkness that runs in the darkness, that prides themselves on running in the darkness and not having any transparency whatsoever. They lie to you, the public, to make you pay for their wage. We are not here to cause alarm, harassment or distress. We're here purely to film the truth, to film the reality. Subscribe and then put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and then put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share. Tapping that like button and double tapping the stream. Please do that, because that's what gets the algorithm out to the world, to show what happens to the animals. The animals only have us defending them. Please help them.
Jocelyn21 says, do you care if your things have human exploitation on them?
Yeah, I don't pay for human exploitation either. This is one thing you can do today that removes yourself from this war upon the animals. It's really easy. If you fight against human exploitation, how can you when you're not vegan? How can you? Because every single day you pay for animal exploitation. Look at this smallholding farmer about to come out with a family inside. How shameful, shameful, indoctrinating their children to be violent towards animals. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe at the top of this live and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. I'm not here to hate on you. I'm not here to rage bait. I'm here purely to defend animals who are being killed inside this place. As you'll see here, animal farmers leave the animals. They commit the ultimate act of betrayal. There was 2 cows in this trailer who I just witnessed going in right now. Look them in the eyes, telling them I'm sorry, telling them I love them, because we are not like these evil scumbag people. We are people with hearts and compassion who have seen injustice and we stood against it. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Like, share, comment. This is evil, shameful. 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 How dare you? How dare you do that to animals? Committing the ultimate act of betrayal to those animals who trusted them. How dare they? Shame on you. How could they do this? How could they do this to the most childlike beings on the planet? Absolutely disgusting. They've probably been indoctrinated by their grandparents, their parents, and now the children are being indoctrinated. It's horrific. This needs to end. Please subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Another truck's coming in. Another truck. More animals. So much death. So much death.
Careful,
Whoa,
careful,
whoa,
careful,
whoa.
careful, careful. Watch the back, watch the back, watch the back. Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
These are
We love
victims
you.
of non-vegans. Oh.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. See, another truck's gone in with animals, dairy cows from the dairy industry. I could tell by their noses looking out. I could tell by their noses they're in trees, looking at my camera. Look at them there, still poking their noses out. Where are we? What's happening to us? They're going to be killed in any today. Before you go to sleep today, their blood will be spilt on this floor of this slaughterhouse. They will have a knife stabbed into their throat. They will be decapitated by the time you were in bed tonight. Horrific. These childlike beings who didn't do anything wrong to you. They did nothing wrong. All they did was they're born into a body that looks different from yours. How dare we do this to them? Please subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Like, share, comment. We're here today in collaboration with Animal Aid. Go and look in the link in the description of what happens inside these evil places. Go and watch Dominion on YouTube. Get to 50 likes. And I'm going to be telling you some things that you've never known before. Subscribe to be in with a chance to win something today. Put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. How many likes are we on, Steve?
3 at the moment, 4.
4 right now. Let's get to 50 as soon as possible. These dear animals.
Roblox King, I'm going to put you in a 1-minute timeout because you keep spamming the same thing.
Yeah, it's not fair to spam. We're here as the most urgent issue of our time. This is the biggest war on the biggest battlefield against animals who depend on you fighting for them, and you're spamming here. They're literally stood in this truck awaiting death.
4 strokes all the way says, bro, they get a bullet, it isn't a knife.
It's a knife. Every single animal gets stabbed in the throat. Every single animal. Subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment, share and subscribe. Did you know? Yeah, people talk about, oh, it's a bullet. Even if it was a bullet, do you think that's better? Do you think that's okay? If I just picked up a gun and shot you and all your family and said it's all right, because that dude said it's all right. He said that's fine. Doesn't happen. What you're talking about is the bolt gun, which isn't there for the animals, it's there for the safety of the humans. Because when you come at an animal with a knife, they fight for their life. They try and defend themselves, which would make it dangerous for the humans, right? Because that's what people care about as humans. The animals literally get a bolt gun in their head, they get incapacitated, they fall to the floor, but they're still conscious, they can still feel everything. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. I can hear those cows crying inside this place today. What you hear here? You hear cries, 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 shouting, silence. Cries, 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 shouting, silence. That's when more cows come in, they get killed, they go silence. More cows come in, they cry for their life, they get killed, silence. It's horrific, they scream.
The amount of comments saying you're gonna get arrested, you should get arrested. Why do you support criminals like Joey Carbstrong when who are the real criminals in this?
Animal farmers and slaughterhouse workers. Anyone who experiments, uses, commodifies animals, they're the true criminals of this world. How the hell can someone with a brain and a heart stab somebody else in the throat against their will? How could they do that? Joey Carbstrong is the most incredible person. He literally turned his life away. He defends animals with his life. He's incredible. He's dropping an investigation soon, so go and subscribe to his channel. Anyone who can do this to animals, it's a whole different level. Okay, and these animals are treated like the worst criminals. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, share and comment and subscribe. Defending yourself against someone is different to shooting and killing someone defenseless. Okay, go to the link in the description, go and look at Animal Aid's investigation on this place. Things have happened here, horrific things have happened. In all slaughterhouses, horrific things happen. It's just that some places have had a camera in that have been exposed. But it happens everywhere. What we talk about is standard practice. Standard practice is horrific. I haven't even gone into what happens on animal farms, animal experimentations. For instance, the pig industry. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Keep liking the lives, keep commenting, keep asking questions. Did you know in the pig industry, piglets, when they get to 6 months old, are forced inside CO2 gas chambers? They burn from the inside out. The RSPCA is sure that. They make money off it. They burn from the inside out. They've been known to rip their own limbs off trying to escape the gas because it's a burning sensation. Then they get stabbed in the throat. Then they get hung up and dunked in something called a scalding tank, a boiling tank of water, because people don't want bacon, hair on their bacon. It's not their bacon though, it's someone else's flesh. You didn't want to die. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Subscribe and comment and ask questions on this live stream. Keep double tapping this live and like and share.
What do you say to someone who says, I could go vegetarian but not vegan?
It winds me up so much because I'm like, why would you choose to exploit animals when you can just be vegan and not? Being vegan, it's not like I'm asking you to run across the entire world and go to the North Pole. I'm literally asking you on behalf of the animals to stop partaking in their violence, to remove yourself. It's a non-action to be vegan. It's just a normal person. It's a normal person. But number 2s, you've just been indoctrinated. You've been brainwashed and lied to, just like we had as well. I used to pay for this as well. Being vegetarian means you still pay for animals to be killed. Today I'm at a slaughterhouse where they kill dairy cows. Okay, every single cow from the dairy industry gets taken inside to be killed. A knife in their throat they'll get today.
XY2 says 1 person can't change the world.
They can. They can. Don't let yourself down like that. 1 person is all it's taken to change the world with any other injustice. It's taken 1 person to stand up against what is wrong and do the right thing. It takes 1 person to see an injustice and say, nah, you know what? I can't partake in this. Even if I was that 1 person and there was no one else, I would still fight for the animals because I know that's the right thing to do. Do what's right, not what's easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really powerful statement. Do what's right, not what's easy. But you know what is easy? Going vegan when you see what happens to the animals. We have seen hundreds of animals come past us today already. And we've seen how many trucks leave? Maybe 8 to 10 trucks leave. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, subscribe to put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to these conversations, subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the live stream, let's get the likes up before the next truck comes. We're here today not to clash with non-vegans. The chat at the moment is full of angry, crybaby, anti-vegan trolls. Grow up. We're just here to have a conversation with you and just show you the reality and the truth. This comes down to someone is dying the other side of that gate. Someone is having their throat slashed open the other side of that gate. So you jumping up and down and getting all upset and getting your knickers in a twist because I'm telling you, Mel's telling you the truth, doesn't help them. Calm yourself down, take a breath, have a little bit of water and understand that our message is let's be kind and consider all animals who are sentient, which means they have the ability to feel pain, suffer, and they have emotional bonds with their families. This is all the message is. Be kind to animals who are just a similar way to your dogs and cats. Subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're a kind person. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the stream.
Butter ham put, you need some milk.
You need some milk. What, soy milk, rice milk, oat milk, almond milk, what other milk? Hemp milk, pea milk, potato milk. There's so many milks to choose from. Like, personally, my favourite is oat milk. I like oat milk, and I like the Alpro soy milk with the extra protein in it. It goes good in my vegan protein shakes. Exactly the same as everything else, but no one gets hurt.
Well, someone said, what about normal milk?
What is normal milk?
Plant
That
milk.
is normal milk.
Yeah.
When you say normal milk, you're referring to cow's milk, I should assume. But what's normal about breastfeeding from a different species? Because just stop and think about it without being triggered for a moment. Why do we have to take a different species, force a pregnancy on her? She carries her baby for 9 months, the same as a human woman would. We remove the baby and execute them if they're male. We steal her breast milk, and then we call that process normal. And then as a different species, we put her breast milk in our tea, coffee, we make cheese, we make yogurts from it. We do all sorts with her breast milk. Meanwhile, no one considers the babies that have been executed and that she's had taken away. All the females, by the way, will never go back to their mums. They go into the isolation hutches and they're made pregnant immediately as soon as they can be. Subscribe and 1 if you're vegan. Subscribe and 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're a kind person. Subscribe and 3 in the chat if you're an anti-vegan, and double tap the stream. So when you say normal milk, does what I just sound to you that happens to cows sound normal? Doesn't sound normal to me. I'll tell you what it sounds like. In my opinion, it sounds like forceful impregnation, kidnap, commodification, slavery, and murder. That's what that sounds like to me. And if you oppose what I'm saying, then please explain why you believe that I'm wrong in what I'm saying. But we give them numbers, not names. We force their bodily autonomy away from them. We force their children away from them. We steal their breast milk. We put them in chains. We give them numbers. We literally lock them up in cages, and then we execute them. And you're telling me that that's not slavery?
I can literally hear screams and screams and screams. They're fighting for their life in here. I can hear so much banging. I can hear the crying. They're not normal moos, they're cries.
They're bellows of mercy.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things is that we know that they're crying for their life, and I know that no one's going to answer. I know that they can bellow and scream and they can fight all they like, and they do, by the way. They do. They fight for their life inside that slaughterhouse, and they try and defend themselves. They try and bunch together. They try and back up. They evade going forward onto the kill floor. They act and respond in exactly the same way that you would if you were in that position. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded while we're here. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan and you're triggered by being kind to animals. Double tap the live stream. Today we're here in collaboration with Animal Aid. Go to the dots in the top right-hand corner, click on Animal Aid's investigation. Animal Aid investigated the very slaughterhouse that we were stood outside the front of right now. Go and have a look at what actually happens inside there. Go and see yourself. Go and see the truth for yourself.
I can just hear these workers shouting at these cows.
I know, they're
crying.
shouting and screaming and they're whacking them. I can hear the whacks as well. It's because the animals don't want to go onto the kill floor. Any questions, or do you want me to explain what's going to happen to the animals?
Someone just gave a super thanks. Thank you so much. They crash your stream and flood them with bots to hide you. These are all bots here to push a perspective, silencing those who agree with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the super thanks. All super thanks goes directly to helping the animals, and you're right, they do everything they can. These industries hide in any which way they can. They actually have paid people in the industry to sit on social media and go to animal rights activist channels and put in their misinformation and lies to continue the indoctrination of the public. But it's a simple message. Animals are here with us, not for us. Animals should have basic rights to their bodily autonomy and their life. It's simple as that. If you morally consider some animals like dogs, cats, horses, dolphins and whales, then I'm asking you, why aren't you morally considering all of them? What does one animal have that the other one doesn't that means you should or shouldn't morally consider them? Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you are anti-vegan, if you're a big crybaby troll and you get triggered over people saying let's be kind to cows and chickens and pigs. Please double tap the live stream and go into the description and click the link to go to Animal Ways Investigations. Go and see what happens on the inside of these places so you can see for real. We're just the messenger. We're just bringing you the reality. That's it.
Steve, what do you think is the most hidden industry of all?
Wow, that's a really... You've stumped me.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many.
Because it's all hidden, right?
It's all hidden. I don't know if one's hidden more than the other.
No.
I think that they're all hidden. They all have different tactics. And what I mean by that, let me give you, for example, the dairy industry uses the beef industry as a tactic to be hidden from the exploitation because people believe that cows just eat grass and have babies. So when you see the cows in the field with their mums, then you see the beef industry. That's the beef industry, right? Because the babies are allowed to stay with their mums in the beef industry. So when the dairy industry says, no, we don't take away the babies, look, they're in the fields with their mums. Yeah. They're showing you the beef animals, the animals who are being exploited for their bodies. All of the babies who are born in the dairy industry are taken away. So this is one way how they keep the indoctrination, or they keep they keep what happens inside there hidden. Second way is they advertise it. They come out with happy farmers. They give Old MacDonald Had a Farm, Little Bo Peep, all of the nursery rhymes, the storybooks. There's so many layers of indoctrination and conditioning. Yeah. It's ridiculous. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals and if you think that you get triggered by people saying let's be kind to chickens. Please subscribe to chat. Make sure you subscribe.
We've got 75 likes right now. Let's get to 100 as soon as possible.
Let's get 100 likes in there as fast as possible. You've seen animals coming in here today. You've seen them with your own eyes. Go back over the streams and see.
We've got a lot of number 2s in the room right now. What are we doing here? Why are we here, Steve?
For number 2s, thank you so much for being here in the room with us today. We're here today to come alongside you and to show you the truth. We're not here to clash with you. We weren't born vegan. Once upon a time, I would have come across this stream and I would have been hitting subscribe, hitting number 2, and then listening to what the activists had to say. And I would have been taking it all in with a critical mind and an open heart, thinking what they're saying, what they try to show me. We're here in collaboration with Animal Aid. Please go into the description and click on the link to Animal Aid's investigations. These investigations were done in the UK. These investigations will show you the reality and the truth, what the industry don't want you to see. Now, the industries that exploit animals, and I'm talking about all industries, but we're here today outside of a slaughterhouse where they kill dairy cows and beef cows, so meat and dairy industries. They don't just not tell you the truth, they hide the truth behind lies. Like what Mel says, it's a wall of lies that protects even the transparency.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. Noah just put it right. People are on here against vegans, but they love animals. They don't understand, I guess. Animals are getting murdered.
This is it. Noah, well said. And it's exactly that. Look, a lot of you number 2s, a lot of people here will morally consider some animals. You will. Like, you will either morally consider a companion animal, or maybe your friends have got companion animals that when you go around there, you sit there and you pet their cats or pet their dogs, and you're there and you do morally consider them animals. So I'm challenging you to ask yourself, what is the difference between them and the chickens, the cows and the pigs and the sheep and the fish? Go to your local animal sanctuary. Don't go to a zoo. Don't go to an aquarium. They're also prisons for animals. They're exploitative industries. Subscribe 1 if you're vegan. Subscribe 2 in the chat if you're a kind person but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if being kind to animals triggers you, and double tap the live stream. Go to your local sanctuary and just sit with some cows, sit with some sheep. Realize that there's no difference between them and any other animal.
So many love, I just put, I'm currently eating my last non-vegan meal. So are you going vegan from now?
Are you going to go vegan from now? I hope so. I really hope you do. If you're going to go vegan from now, please go into the Animal Aid live description and watch the investigations from Animal Aid. Please also go and watch Dominion on YouTube. Please watch Pignorant on Amazon Prime, and please go into our link tree. You can get to our link tree from any of our channels, and you can get help going vegan from John the Bodybuilder Vegan and the Vegan Squad.
Yeah, it looks like it. They put okay.
Amazing. Thank you for having a compassionate heart towards animals. Thank you for being here and critically thinking and not being triggered by a message of kindness.
Yeah. Brandon Bone put, I'm a number 2. Didn't we evolve to eat meat? Question mark. I think genuine question.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Thank you for being a number 2, and thank you for spending the time here with us, listening to what we have to say. We could say evolution. Let's take evolution, right? We could say, oh, okay, we had to eat animals to evolve, and we are where we are right now, right here, right? So what we've done historically, we've done. There's lots of things that have happened in history that have got us to where we are. We went to war to free some countries. You know, is war a good thing? No, but we are where we are, right? So let's draw that line where we are. Now, do you need to exploit animals right now? Is it a necessity? Do you need them for clothing? Do you need them for experiments? Do you need them for medicines? Do you need them for cosmetics? Do you need them for food? No. So moving forward, we can continue that evolution and say, you know what? I don't need to hurt animals anymore. I can continue to evolve and I can live vegan. Thank you for being in the live stream.
Yeah, keep asking questions, guys. Let's get these likes up to 100 likes for the animals. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe at the top of this live stream to comment. Put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment, share. I'm here today at a slaughterhouse. I'm trying to defend animals. I woke up this morning and I come straight here to try and do my best to use my voice to fight for them, because right now they don't have anybody fighting for them, and they need you and they need me.
Noah asked, what's pignorant?
What's Pignorant?
What's Pignorant, the documentary?
Oh yeah, sorry, I thought you said watch Pignorant. Yeah, to anyone who hasn't seen Pignorant, go and watch Pignorant. Pignorant is a documentary on Amazon Prime that shows you the reality of what happens to animals in gas chambers. Joey Carbstrong, our incredible friend, had the courage to go inside a gas chamber for the first time in the UK and put cameras in.
It's all right.
Well, and put cameras in. He's exposed it for the very first time. You then see the corruption of the RSPCA assured scheme. You then see Norfolk Free Range, who did horrific things to pigs. This is an award-winning farm, by the way, and the most award-winning farm, Norfolk Free Range. What I witnessed, what we saw on that documentary, horrific. To these disabled piglets. It's shocking. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share. Keep liking this live. How many likes are we on now?
Bell and Bo put, sorry, we're on 93. Bell and Bo put, I'm not vegan, but you know you could at least tell us that we don't have to stop eating all meat, but try to slim down on eating it really.
Absolutely not.
If I was vegan and doing one of these things, I would not force people.
I'm here just telling the truth. I cannot force you, sadly, to do the right thing. By cutting down, doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. If I said to you, oh, there's human slaves here, we should just cut down the human slavery, you'd say that's wrong. We abolish it. We get rid of it. This is wrong. It's an injustice. What about if we had the concentration camps for humans and people were like, you know what, we'll let half of them live, but the other half, we'll kill them. It's horrific, right? It sounds mental when I say that back to you when it's a human in that position. The animals want to live just like you and I. We should give them that mercy. It's a non-action to be vegan. It's the very least we can do. It's not something you aspire to be. It's the baseline. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, share, comment. I'm here today at a slaughterhouse. I've witnessed cows from the dairy industry and the beef industry going inside this place. I've witnessed about 6 small holding trailers, two cars with family members in as well, children in as well, indoctrinating their children to be part of such violence. It's the most disgusting thing that you can do. Not only are you betraying those animals that you have abused, commodified and used, you're making sure that your children are commodified and not commodified, brainwashed into doing that as well.
Nathan Potter, I think that he thinks our backpacks are leather or something on us is leather.
No, I never.
He's put leather comes from codes. I think he's meant to say cows.
Yeah.
You're not going to answer this because you're dumb, ironic, and the one person won't make a difference either, you idiots.
You think one person can't make a difference? I think that's a really sad mindset. You're just someone who's like an NPC. You just don't think that anyone can make a difference. In fact, when you go vegan, you save 200 to 300 animals a year because you didn't partake in their violence and their murder that you were going to be partaking in because the industry has brainwashed you to do that yourself. Yes, leather comes from cow skin, you are right there. I'm vegan, so that means I don't pay for any oppression towards animals. Everything that I have and eat and consume and wear is all vegan. I would never, ever pay for the exploitation of animals because I know what happens.
We've got some awesome vegans in the chat. Martin's
Legends.
here as well. Martin's just popped in just in Martin's name.
Legends, thank you so much, guys. Please subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Keep liking this live. We have activists in the room right now who are helping out on this live live stream. Amazing people who are here every time, standing with us virtually through the phone. Please keep asking questions. If we miss your question, someone else will capture it and they'll help you out as well. Vegans are not here against you. View vegans as a friend who's just trying to tell you something that they've seen and you haven't yet. Was there a question?
I was going to say, anyone joining the live stream, where are we, what are we doing, who are we here with?
Yeah, we're here today at a slaughterhouse in collaboration with Animal Aid. Go and look in the description. Go and look in the description at what happens inside slaughterhouses. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Please put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream. Please subscribe to comment on this live stream. Keep subscribing, keep liking, keep sharing, keep asking questions. I've witnessed today's cows from the dairy industry and the beef industry coming inside here. I've seen drivers, the farmers, driving in here on their phones, filming us whilst driving animals to their death. I've seen farmers laugh at us. I've seen them give abuse at us. I've also seen cowardly farmers who can't look at us because of what they've done.
No one ever comments today. Why do people think they can break the law? Like, using your phone to film and drive is a criminal act.
Yeah.
Like, we report every single one of them.
Yeah, so the reason animal farmers think that they can break the law is because they do that every single day of their lives to animals. They literally are the most abusive, disgusting people to animals. I've seen animal farmers use tractors hitting cows. I've seen animal farmers do the most heinous, disgusting crimes to animals on top of the standard practice. And they get away with it because they're in like a cult. All animal farmers are in like a cult of people. In fact, when we went onto that animal farm, what was the thing that happened to us? Get chased off the farm. Oh no. We get chased off by all these different farmers. They'll come to you guys, the public, with a smile on the face, but behind their smile is an inverted, disgusting, violently,
you know what?
violent brain.
You know they say veganism is a religion and a cult?
Yeah.
Like, animal farmers, they're the ones with like the sacrifices, the dead bodies, the oppression,
Yeah. They're
the
literally walking around
victimisation.
like, bad British farmers.
Animal
we are
farmers
the
are the
backbone
cult.
of society. It's like, do they go to a barn all together and just be like, Jeremy Clarkson? Like, you're so brainwashed and you're so indoctrinated that you literally don't even speak properly. They speak so weird. They don't even have a brain, in my opinion, and they don't have a heart. They're not the same species as me because I could never be violent to an animal. I could never hurt somebody else. But they do it every single day of their life. And then they have children. This is why, right, we go to slaughterhouses. What's normally the sign, the name of the slaughterhouses? F. Juries and Sons. Because no one else could be indoctrinated to stab animals in the throats. They leave it through their family. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and like and comment and
Katie
share.
Commer says that I'm a farmer, so are you threatening me? No one's threatening you. We're just describing the industry that you're part of.
It's you that threatens the animals. Because you exist and you have I call it a slave farm, animals will be killed because you have existed. You are literally forcibly breeding these animals into existence for money. That is disgusting. Shame on you. Shame on any animal farmer that exists. One day, your actions will be a criminal act in law and you'll be put in prison for the rest of your life for what you do to those gentle, childlike beings. How dare you work on an animal farm? But maybe you're indoctrinated by your parents who indoctrinated you, your grandparents who indoctrinated you. It's disgusting. Make sure animal farmers are extinct. Slaughterhouse workers should be extinct because these industries don't belong on our planet. Please subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, comment and share. By the way, if you're an animal farmer, change.
Just saying, David's in the chat as well. Aquatic, I'm not going to read it out loud in case it's a swear word, but
The military guy.
Supporting a fully vegan military. By the way, I should stop. Let me start this again. It's a super thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you for your super thanks.
Thank you.
The question is, or the comment is, supporting a fully vegan military would need an astronomical amount of food, and the expenses for buying, shipping and storing and preparing the food would also be astronomical. So that's an entire job that wouldn't be vegan ever.
Yeah, actually, I believe the military will be vegan first because it's the most optimal for the human body to consume plants. And in fact, it costs less to be plant-based. An Oxford study come out at 30% cheaper to be vegan because the cheapest foods in the supermarkets are what your potatoes, your legumes, your rice, your beans, your lentils. It's so easy. Nothing changes for you when you go vegan, but it's life and death for somebody else. And in fact, the preparation stage is faster because you don't have to wait for these animal bodies to be cooked so you don't get things like salmonella or Ebola.
I could be wrong, but I was speaking to Brandon from the Green Gazelles.
Yeah.
80% of that rugby team are all vegan.
And in the military,
and he was saying
packs.
the MOD have got vegan field packs, and the MOD were going quite a lot more over towards vegan packs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, check out Green Gazelles and message Green Gazelles on their website. They're an English rugby team. They're all vegan. And a lot of the rugby team are vegan. So
yeah, because you don't forget, like, that 1% of the population is vegan, but the majority of people who win like athletic competitions and things like that are the vegans. Like Formula One, tennis, all sorts of things. They're the vegans who are at the top, that optimal. So if we want our military to be the best, they should be on a plant-based diet, be vegan at the very least. I mean, if you're fighting against a war, don't partake in another war towards the animals. Please subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. By the way, guys, let me just reiterate, because sometimes I get very passionate. Sometimes that comes across angry, sometimes that comes across sad. I've witnessed animals today going inside a place of evil, that I've heard their cries and their screams, and I've touched their nose, I've looked into their faces. I'm not against you on this live stream. In fact, thank you for being on this live stream. Please subscribe. And I'm trying to tell you the truth and turn your head against the industry that have lied to you and myself.
yeah, absolutely, well said.
Just to say, because sometimes we get so passionate.
Yeah, of course. This isn't a difference of opinion as in, I think that a blue T-shirt is better than a green T-shirt. We're here today. People are dying, individuals are dying behind us. And not only are they dying, they're being mocked and laughed at whilst it's happening. And then there are silly excuses like plants feel pain. You're effectively saying that mowing the lawn is the same as watching all them male chicks from the egg industry being thrown inside of a blender and killed on the first day of life. They're not comparable, they're not the same. We're talking about individuals with a desire to live and the ability to feel pain. I want to go back to the military thing, and I want to go back to any servicemen or service women, service people. If you've joined the fire brigade to serve and protect, if you've joined the police to serve and protect, if you've joined the Navy, the Army, the military, the SAS, the paras, whoever you're in, and you're there to serve and protect, and you're there because you may, I would imagine, that you've got a protective nature and you're there to help and you want to defend, then that's a great attribute, right? But why are you not extending it to the most vulnerable, the animals? Why are you not extending it to the chickens and the pigs and the cows and the sheep? If you've got that in you, if you're a serviceman, if you've signed up to defend and uphold and protect, then please morally consider everybody that walks this planet. Because like what Mel said, you're taking some and you're protecting them, and you're taking some and you're oppressing them. Be consistent. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to why we're here. And remember, we're not here to clash. We're here to communicate and talk. Subscribe and put 3 if you are triggered by people saying, let's be kind to cows, chickens and pigs. Double tap the stream. Please make sure you share it in your socials. Please subscribe it. We're here today in collaboration with Animal Aid. We're here with them. Please go into the description and click on the top link, which is their investigation page. They investigated the very slaughterhouse that we're stood right out in front of now, live.
Evil Angadingus put, I'm now a vegan.
Amazing. Evil Agadingus. Apologies if I've said that wrong.
Change your name to Angel.
Thank you very much for going vegan from the animals, because they will be forever grateful that you no longer oppress them personally. And this is a serious matter. This is, in my opinion, oppression. It is, in my opinion, kidnapping. It is, in my opinion, slavery. It is, in my opinion, no difference to any other injustice, speciesism, racism, however you want to dress it up. This is an injustice for the individual.
LF Elu, sorry, I can't say your full name properly, put on number 2, we don't naturally have enough food to feed the population.
Yeah, number 2, LF, okay, don't know your handle, but thank you for being here. Thank you for being number 2. Thank you for being open-minded to why we're here and what we're doing. When you're talking about enough food for the population, let me just give it to you nice, simply and quick. We have 9 billion humans on the planet. We have 90 billion land animals alone, 2 to 3 trillion sea animals, but 90 billion land animals are on the planet too. We grow enough crops to feed 90 billion land animals, and then we send them to slaughterhouses, and then we eat them, and we also grow crops for all the 9 billion humans too. So I'm going to continue this after this. You subscribed and hit 1 if you're vegan already. Subscribe and hit 2 if you are not vegan but you're open-minded and listen to what we're saying. Subscribe and hit 3 if you're triggered and upset over people saying let's be kind to chickens, and double tap the live stream. So when you're looking at veganism or crop deaths and survival or sustainability or civilization collapse, you're talking about we have enough land to grow crops to feed effectively 99 billion living beings. Well, if we stopped farming animals and stopped exploiting animals, we'd only need to feed 9 billion. So we could actually free up all that land that feeds 90 billion land animals, rewild it, stabilize our habitats, basically sort out global warming, sort out world hunger, and all the other atrocities, and no longer be responsible for the violence towards the most vulnerable. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you are vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded while we're here today. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you are triggered and upset by us saying let's stop kidnapping babies from mothers, and double tap the live stream. We're here today not to clash. Like you can hear now, we're just talking. People are putting some great comments in that comment section, and we're answering them the best we can. We're giving you the resources the best we can. Go into the description, click on Animal AIDS Investigation link. That's full of resources for you to go and educate yourself more on the topics we're talking about.
We're on 170 likes. Let's get that to 200 likes as soon as possible. How many cows have you seen go in today? Who have you seen? What's going on here?
We must have seen, I would imagine, potentially 100 cows go in here today. But bear in mind, we turned up at about 12 o'clock, so there was already trucks going in. These operations like to operate in darkness or early hours in the morning because they don't like the public seeing animals even in slaughter trucks. That's why they work so hard when we're at the front to try and rush the trucks in. You'll notice they rush the truck past the gate, they park the truck up on the right-hand side, they then do the paperwork, and then the trucks go around with the animals. Usually what happens is the trucks pull up at the gate, they do the paperwork, and then they drive around. But they try and get the trucks well out of sight because they don't want the public seeing the animals. What happens when someone with empathy and compassion and kindness in their heart sees the eyes of a victim looking out the slats of a slaughterhouse truck when they're about to be executed and murdered for an optional product? They connect, they get upset, they feel empathy. They don't want what's going to happen to that animal to happen, and then they go vegan. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan already. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you are not vegan but you're open-minded to why we're here and you're listening to what we've got to say. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're triggered and upset by people saying let's be kind to animals, and double tap the live stream. Please go to the link in the description and watch Animal AIDS Investigation links.
Yeah, Ian Depo, sorry if I've said that wrong. What are your thoughts on animals eating each other?
It's horrible. I don't like it. I think that we also, once we've got a vegan world, I believe that we have a moral obligation to go and rectify that problem too. And I think we'll be able to when we have things like lab-grown meat and we can supply carnivorous animals who are in a survival situation with lab-grown meat. I feel that we have a moral obligation to go and do that. It's absolutely horrible. I wish it didn't happen. But what I wish didn't happen even more is that humans who have options take what happens in the wild, and take what happens with obligate carnivores in survival situations, and puts that situation inside Tesco's, Asda, Aldi, Sainsbury's. You take what happens with lions and gazelles and you go, apex predator, yeah, we're humans, we're the top of the food chain, we're the biggest and the strongest. And then you go to Tesco's and then you pay for the forceful impregnation and the babies being taken away from the mums and the milking of the animals. Let's move out of the way.
Yeah, because of copyright.
Yeah. Subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. And sorry, if you're not vegan, but you are here, listen to what we're saying. And subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you are triggered by people saying let's be kind to animals. Make sure you've subscribed and double tap the stream.
We're on 186 likes. Let's get to 200 as soon as possible.
This is a slaughterhouse. You shouldn't go in there. Do you know it's a slaughterhouse?
Yeah, job, mate.
Do you not care about what happens to animals? Do you not care about animals? What about if my job was child trafficking and I just put my hands in the air and said it's my job? Would that be okay? Do you think it's ethical what you do? Do you think it's ethical to be involved in these industries? Do you think that you have to do it? Don't need to do it.
We just
You're
want something
triggered,
called
you're
dominion.
upset. You don't care what happens to animals. You got no empathy for the animals. Do you have no, well, how do you feel? Are you vegan? Why aren't you vegan? If you're not vegan, then you don't have any empathy towards the animals. You can't have. That's all it is. Being vegan is having empathy towards the animals.
Maybe he's never seen the kill floor.
I think the guy was triggered. He came up with his music playing because he knows that we're live streaming. He's at a slaughterhouse, gets triggered. It's a normal response with people. It's called a chimp paradox. They jump up and down because they can't have a logical conversation. Like you just say, are you vegan? No. Are you empathy towards animals? Didn't say that, didn't say that. They can't have a normal conversation. You can't actually stop and say, yeah, you know what? I've never thought about it actually. This is a slaughterhouse. It's instantly defensive. It's my job, it's my job, it's my job. And I said, well, what if I was a child trafficker? trafficker and I said it's my job, would it all of a sudden make child trafficking okay and ethical and moral? Of course it wouldn't. Just because someone says it's my job to exploit animals doesn't mean that that job's moral and ethical. It's my job to deal drugs. Doesn't make drug dealing okay, does it?
I think it's easy for people to be triggered when they haven't seen what we've seen. That's why they get triggered.
And they also feel guilt. When you feel guilt is when you feel triggered, and that's when you come out with all the nonsense rather than a conversation. That's why we get a lot of triggered meat emojis, triggered trolls. Stop and have a conversation. Stop and critically think. We're putting like comments and questions to people randomly and fast, and I appreciate it. Maybe the first time someone's asked you, do you ethically consider, do you morally consider animals? It's a difficult question sometimes.
Where can they watch what happens inside for anyone who doesn't know?
If you want to watch what happens to animals, go to Dominion and watch on YouTube. And also click in the top link of this description and go and watch the animal aid investigation that actually was committed in this very slaughterhouse. Go and see the exact thing that happens to the animals in these slaughterhouses. Go and watch Dominion. Go and watch the investigations of Animal Aid. Go to animalaid.org.uk and go and see the reality for yourself. Go and see the truth. And then see if people say things like, it's my job, I don't really care, I don't really think about it. It's okay when you're in the position of power and you're in the position of the oppressor, because you don't have to think about it. You can go about your day, nothing affects you, but your daily actions and where you spend your money and your money habits, they affect someone. It's a butterfly effect, and the effect is murder.
Yeah, there's so many people in this chat. It keeps going from like 400 to 1,000, 400 to 1,000.
Okay.
Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe at the top and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment, share, and subscribe. So many people have never seen the kill floor. That's why it's very easy for them to put meat emojis and laugh and things. But we've seen things that people have never seen. We investigate these places. We investigate farms. Go to our main channel, It's Mel and Steve, and see our investigations for yourself. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now where I'm witnessing cows from the dairy and the beef industry go inside to be killed. I'm listening to their screams today. I've seen animal farmers turn up laughing on their phones, filming us whilst driving, by the way. I've seen them bring their families in, little kids in the back, which I feel so sorry for the little kids who have been indoctrinated in this family, who are not going to stand a chance at having any sort of heart because the parents have taken that away from them because of the farming industry and indoctrinating them. Those children of farmers often message us. We often get messages from children of farmers who are like, I'm so sad, I'm in bed and all I can hear are the cows crying. What do I do? What do I say to my dad? What do I say to my granddad to end this? Because those cows are their friends, and then the industry indoctrinates their heart out of them to make them think that they must do this. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share. I'm at a slaughterhouse today. We're here in collaboration with Animal Aid. Go to the link in the description to see what happens inside these places. They kill cows from the dairy industry. Did you know that cows don't just produce milk because they are cows? They don't just eat grass and produce milk like the animal farmers tell you and the industry tells you. They literally, when they're sexually mature enough, they get put into something called a cattle crush, where they get trapped basically inside a cage. They can't exit, and the farmer has access to her back end. He puts himself inside of her, injects her with bull semen to make her pregnant.
Zombie Nation, answer the question. Good luck with answering this.
Yeah.
How would you combat all of the diseases if you released all the animals? How would you combat that?
That's not an issue to even bring up.
There's literally
And
zero
fact,
scientific data to suggest that would happen.
Any diseases that we have come from farming animals. The colds came from farming horses. Okay, swine flu came from farming pigs. Mad cow disease, I'll let you guess where that came from farming these animals that's so intensively close together all the time, living in their own poo and wee, defecating on each other, the blood and guts, death, rats, everything like that in these bonds of hell that I've been inside myself and seen. That's where these diseases come from. But we're not here about disease, we're here about the exploitation of animals that needs to stop. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you are anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. I'm here at a slaughterhouse. I'm here using my voice to fight for them inside, crying and screaming inside here. A few moments ago, I could hear them. I could hear the workers shouting, shouting, shouting. I could hear the bellows of the cries of the cows who are likely now dead on the kill floor, who have been decapitated. This is what happens to every single cow. This is what happens to every single pig, every single chicken. Did you know chickens at 42 days old, they're disabled babies, by the way, get sentenced to a gas chamber? That's who you're talking about when you say meat chickens. That's who you're talking about. It's a different breed. to their egg-laying hens. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, share, comment. Please keep asking questions. How many likes are we on?
212 likes right now.
Let's get that to 250 as soon as possible. Please subscribe so you can comment in this live chat. It's going really fast. Thank you to the activists who are in this chat.
Awesome activists in here.
If we miss your comment, the amazing activists in the chat, we have ex-slaughterhouse workers in here as well who will help you out with your questions.
Why are the industries not transparent with the public and the consumers? Why not?
Because if they were transparent with you, you wouldn't pay for it, so their industry would be abolished. That's why they're so scared of vegans, of animal rights activists, because we're here with a camera. Why do they have massive gates with spiked fences? Why do they have CCTV and security on at all times, by the way? Why do they call the police on us constantly? Why do they draw this white line that was never here before me and Steve started doing these live streams? They literally drew these lines. We know from someone who has said this to somebody else, we put the lines here because of Mel and Steve, because we apply pressure. We pressurize the industries, because when people like this, when these industries are exposed, good people on the live stream go vegan. We've seen it today. We see it every single day. People just don't know the industries, and that's not your fault. I used to pay for this place too. I saw inside, I changed as well. I'm at a slaughterhouse. When you see inside these places, you never forget what you see. Subscribe. Put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Keep liking this live stream. Double tap this live. Keep asking questions and commenting and sharing.
Janag put, what's your opinion on reducing consumption versus going full vegan?
It's reducing consumption is still exploitation. It's no different, okay? Being vegan is a non-action. You have to be vegan. Veganism is the baseline. That's just what normal people do. They're just vegan. Children are born vegan. Our heart is kind to animals. Our natural instinct is to protect, not to oppress, not to stab them in the throat, not to blend up male chicks alive on day 1 of life, not to take babies away from mothers and kill their babies because you want to steal their breast milk from a cow that was intended for their baby and not you.
Imagine if any other injustice reduced. Imagine if that was the message. Okay, we're only going to take 4 people of colour to do it too. We're only going to take 4 blonde-haired people to do this too.
Yeah.
For the individual, it's still an injustice.
Yeah, because like we have rescue chickens. Imagine if I was like, right, come on, choose which one you're going to take and kill. Which ones can live? You'd just say, let them all live. You wouldn't slow down slavery. You wouldn't cut down on slavery. You wouldn't say to Hitler, it's all right, we'll release some of these individuals, but the rest of them we can kill. You would say, this needs to be abolished. This is the biggest war faced upon the animals. They don't want to be stabbed. Every single individual, everyone doesn't want to be stabbed. Okay, there's no right way to do the wrong thing. It's really easy to be vegan. You just don't pay for animals to be exploited. It's a non-action.
Thank you for your super thanks, Lucy. Well, go to helping the animals. Thank you.
Oh, Lucy, thank you for your super thanks, and to anyone else who sends super thanks. It helps us defend the animals more and more, helps us to be free more and more, to come out and defend these animals. Every time we go live, people go vegan on the spot. Please subscribe at the top and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream. I'm standing at the front of a slaughterhouse, not for me, not for my own benefit. I'm trying to stand here because I'm defending. I'm in a war right now defending the animals from exploitation and the oppression. And right now, you're paying for it if you're not vegan, but that might not be your fault.
I've got 2 questions. What made you vegan and who are you here with today?
Yes, I'm here today in collaboration with Animal Aid, who have done investigations on this place. So go and have a look in the description and have a look for yourself. Go and have a look for yourself. What was the other thing? Oh, why I'm vegan.
What turned you vegan?
Yeah, so for 26 years of my life, I would say I was an animal lover. My dog was my best friend. I'd choose my dog over any human. But I was disconnected. I was disconnected from the chicken burger on my plate to the chicken's eyes, the individual. When I went inside Tesco's, right, I never saw animals. I just saw food like I saw an apple. I didn't even think about what happened behind that product. Then I saw an amazing activist called Joey Carbstrong. He was debating someone about the dairy industry, and I didn't know that cows didn't just eat grass and produce milk. Let me explain more in just a second. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment, and share. Yeah, I didn't know that cows had to have babies to produce milk just like us. They're mammals just like us. I didn't know that they had their babies taken away from them. I didn't know that they had pregnancy forced upon them. They're not choosing to be pregnant, they're not consenting, the animal farmer entraps the cows and forces himself or herself inside the cow to make her pregnant, okay? This is what happens to these poor cows. For 9 months she carries her baby. If the baby she has given birth to is a male, he's classed as a waste product. He's killed on day 1 of life or a few weeks after he's been born. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream.
Dragon Knight Dragon says, I don't think standing outside a slaughterhouse screaming at random people saying, because you're not vegan like we, don't have to be vegan, you're not really going anywhere. Almost saying that this is pointless, we're not making any change. What do you say to that?
Okay, in the last 28 days, we've reached 1 million people through live streaming alone. In the last year, in the last 60 days, we've reached 160 million people on TikTok alone. People, every single time we live stream, change. I'm here, even if one person changes, because that is life and death for somebody else. If you're saying this doesn't change, that's because you're a minority of someone who doesn't care. I'm here telling you the truth, and if you don't take that in and you don't change, then you're a minority. Good people are number 2s who just don't know the industry yet, and I'm not hating on you. The reason I'm speaking loudly is because I have passion, I have fury in my heart, because behind me, animals being killed and stabbed in the throat right now as we speak. It breaks my heart, it rips me apart.
Absolutely. I'd understand the pushback, I'd understand the fight if we had a vegan world and the activists were stood here saying, guys, I've got a great idea. Let's force these animals to be pregnant, and then we're going to kill their babies and take their breast milk. We're going to put it in a bottle and we're going to sell it. Don't tell anyone what we're actually doing, though. Let's just make up something. I know. Let's say that they eat grass and they produce milk. That's what we'll tell the public. And then, you know what? We're going to get some pictures. Let's get some photographers down. Let's have some pictures of us all together in the field where the grass is, and we'll use that for our marketing. Don't tell anyone what actually happens, though. What we'll do, let's build these big barns in the middle of nowhere where no one else really can see what's going on. And we'll put cameras up and we'll put big surroundings there, right? So no one's going to ever challenge us. And what else can we do to market this? I know. Let's tell people that it's really healthy for them to do it. Let's tell them that it's really healthy, it's all okay, the animals are really happy, but we must do it out of the way where no one can see. But when actually they start making, we're spending more on these animals than actually they're making us, what do we do then? I know, let's keep some of the babies, and the ones that are starting to cost us money, let's just take them around the back of this bit here when no one's looking, and let's just slash their throats open. Oh, I'll tell you what then, we can take their skin off and chop them up and put them into pies. We can make money off the backs of them once we're finished with them as well. That's the dairy industry. Sounds psychotic, doesn't it, when you put it like that? If you imagined a group of humans coming up with that idea, it sounds like they should all be put together on an island and just kept there. It sounds absolutely psychotic. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you are not vegan but you're a kind person. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you are triggered by people saying let's be kind to dairy cows and all other animals. Double tap the stream. Please share on your socials.
Rizzy King put, what about beef?
What about beef? Get vegan beef, get vegan meat, get vegan steak. When you refer to beef, what you're actually referring to is the exploitation of an individual who's been genetically modified to grow more flesh on their body in a short space of time, who will then be sent into a slaughterhouse, shot in the face, lifted up by one leg and have their throat slashed open, have their skin ripped off their body, have their body dismembered and put into plastic packets and sent to a supermarket so someone could buy it and say, beef for dinner tonight. What option would you rather have? All the violence or the vegan steak, which didn't contain any of that violence? No one screamed for their life inside of a slaughterhouse.
Ooksley put, vegan is just a political thing. It's not a diet, that's vegetarian.
No, it's not a political thing at all. Veganism has nothing to do with politics. Veganism is an ethical position. That's like saying being anti-racism is a political position. Of course it's not. Anti-racism, anti-feminism, any of them, whatever you want to look at it. Anti-oppression. It's not political, this is ethical. This is an ethical movement against the exploitation and use of animals. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan and you've already removed your personal accountability for the violence towards these animals. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you are not vegan, but you are listening to what we're saying, you're open-minded, you may be standing around to hear some educational facts. And subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you are so triggered over people saying let's be kind to chickens. Double tap the live stream. Please share on your socials. Make sure when you subscribe, you also hit the bell notification because we go live at all different slaughterhouses throughout the week to bring you, the consumer and the public, the truth. This is an industry built on lies. We have been indoctrinated to believe that animal farming and animal slaughter is necessary unless we have civilization collapse. We have been taught that if we don't do this to animals, everyone will starve and the whole world will implode. It's the best marketing pitch a business has ever come up with. The meat, dairy and egg industry is fantastic. It's convinced you all that you're baby cows and that it's necessary, ethical and humane. None of that is true. It's absolutely abhorrent, it's evil, it should never happen and it should be stopped. What you're witnessing right now on the screen,
Dairy cows.
you can tell them, but you can see from where you are.
Yeah, dairy cows from the dairy industry. See how they're all crammed on this truck here. See how they're crammed on this truck, are waiting to go to slaughter. Look at them, inquisitive looking out. These are grieving mothers from these industries, by the way, guys. This is who we're defending. We're not here trying to say hurt them. We're here trying to defend them. Look at them. They need you to defend them. They're the screams that we hear today are coming from these individuals. Please be vegan so this ends.
Yeah. You know, like what Mel said, like we're stood here and we're hearing the screams. Sometimes one of the most deafening sounds. Here you go.
It's all right, it's all right.
Look, in case the thing comes.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Sometimes some of the most deafening sounds isn't the screams, it's the silence afterwards. When you know that the animals are gone, when you know that their last bellows and cries for help weren't heard and that they've now gone, they're now dead.
Yeah, like Jason Guts says, show mercy.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Jason, for being in here.
You're a legend.
Legend. Always in the chat, always in the comments.
Is this a
Legend.
refrigeration truck coming in, maybe?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah,
This is the only
now
way.
to pick their bodies
This
up.
is the only way that the animals ever leave. This is such a sadistic part as well when you're at these slaughterhouses. Like knowing that they're in them refrigerated trucks leaving, chopped up into little pieces. It's like, can't believe these places exist. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. This, like, you can't believe this amount of evil is existing in this world. We're here outside of a place that is specifically designed to take life, and then people are put into packets, put into these big refrigerated lorries and taken to the supermarket. When we say that it's a supply and demand system, when we say that you're not too far from the violence, this is what we mean. Them packets that you pick up in the supermarket, most likely were packaged up in the back of a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat. If you're not vegan but you're open-minded to the conversation while we're here, subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're triggered by people saying let's be kind to cows, pigs, chickens and sheep. Double tap the stream and please go into the description because we're here today in collaboration with Animal Aid.
I just had a thought. You know that farmer who came along videoing us?
Yeah.
They must have told him we're here because he wouldn't have been able to get his phone out in time to video us.
Yeah, that's true.
Why do they do that? Tell everyone why they tell the farmers.
Layers of secrecy. These industries do not want transparency. Like, they want their lies to stay in the forefront of people's minds. When people think about animal farming, they want to think of a few things. First of all, they want to think of high welfare and they want to think of happy farmers. And then they use things like the red tractor certification, they use things like the RSPCA stamp of assurance, and they use these kind of marketing tactics so that when the general public think of animal farming, that you think of all these high welfare things, because the general amount of people care about animals. It's just we have these layers of indoctrination and separation and disconnect. So the first thing is this high welfare thing. Now, people will lose the Welfare Act really, really quickly. They don't give a shit about welfare the minute they see animals going to die. It's like it's built in us. Actually, I heard recently a really good example of, or explanation of this. We were all born vegan. If you look at any child, when they see a chicken or a lamb or a pig or any animal, the children run up to the animals and what do they want to do? They don't want to rip the animal's head off and start drinking their milk and start eating the animals. That's what an obligate carnivore would do. Children run up to animals and they want to cuddle them. Can I feed them? Can I get them a drink? Yeah. Can I cuddle them? Can I read them a book? We naturally, instinctively, inherently want to love and care for animals. Now, as an adult, when you see animals going inside of a slaughterhouse and when you see animals in pain, animals suffering, animals dying, animals being exploited, it pulls back on that natural part of your heart. It pulls back on that natural string of compassion that you have inside you deep. And once that string is plucked and it resonates out, people go vegan. And this is why the industry fights so hard to not even allow you to see the bare, basic, minimum transparency of truth, because that alone reminds you of who you are when you're a child. It reminds you of your love for animals and how you actually consider them. And it turns people vegan immediately, and then they lose profit.
Yeah, the irony of people saying you can't force this on children. In fact, the industry has forced children to lose their compassion.
I would push back. I said, you can't force exploiting animals on children.
Exactly.
You are taking innocent children
Yeah.
and you are forcing them to be violent towards animals who literally they love.
Yeah, without them knowing.
Without
That's
them
disgusting.
knowing.
Someone just put here, you simmer. Children are born drinking milk, dumbass.
Yeah, they are dumbass. Their mum's milk, their breast milk from their own species, which is voluntarily given from mother to baby, which is what would happen in the dairy industry if fucking idiots like you would stop thinking you're a cow and stop stealing their breast milk. You think that vegans are dumb? You think that I'm a dumbass when you're the one drinking breast milk from another species?
Yeah.
You got no leg to stand on. 1 in the chat if you're vegan and subscribe. Subscribe and 2 in the chat if you are not vegan but you're open-minded to what we're saying. And subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're a dumbass like the guy or the person who just commented thinking that vegans are not born vegan because we drink our mum's breast milk. Double tap the live stream, like, subscribe. We're going to swap over. Get Melvin.
Don't know if that's a beep of support
I don't
or not.
know.
Guys, please subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. The subscribe button's at the top. Push that and then put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment, share. I think it's an absolute injustice to the child themselves who love animals, who have been made a fool of, who have been forced to be partake in the exploitation. Children are walking around the skins of animals who they would have cuddled and loved. This is why parents hide them from the truth. You wouldn't willingly take a school trip into here onto the kill floor and be like, there you go guys, what do you think? Because you know in your heart that would scar your child for life. Don't make them part of something that breaks their heart. It broke my heart knowing that I paid for that. It broke my heart that no one told me the truth because my parents were indoctrinated as well. Just like you are, just like your parents have been. We're the generation that can change it. It takes 1 generation to change this for the animals. Let that be you and your children today. When you could have chosen kindness, don't choose violence. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan.
Moon Rabbit here, like what a comment. I feel sorry for your friend.
Oh,
Moon
yeah, I
Rabbit
saw that.
What?
I saw that.
I despise vegans. My friend went vegan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Says, oh, her food's dead animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your friend is a legend. Your friend is epic. They must have seen something that you have not seen that I'm sure they probably are trying to get you to see, and you're turning your head away and being willfully ignorant because that is what a weak person does.
We've got lots of 2s in the room right now. This is great.
Your friend is trying to be the best friend they can possibly be to you by telling you the truth. It is a dead animal that you're eating. It is a dead flesh, a carcass on your table. If you are consuming someone's body, it is breast milk full of pus, blood and poo from a cow who didn't want to die and have a baby taken away from them in your drink. It is someone's skin on your shoes. It is someone's period that you're eating in your omelette. Your friend is right. Listen to them. You're the fool. Don't be the fool. Listen to your friend because right now, these industries are winning. They are lying to you. You've been mugged off by these industries. It's not your friend's fault that you've been mugged off. Just listen to your friend. Watch Dominion on YouTube. Subscribe at the top and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment, and keep asking questions.
So many random statements. Again, Dragon, Night Dragon. Well, you can't force children to be vegan and random people. It's not going anywhere. Like, yeah, we feel bad for the animals while we're eating their meat. Well, we have to eat it, though, to be healthy.
I can't force anyone to do the right thing, sadly, but I can tell you the truth. And as a parent, if you're a parent, then you need to make sure your child is vegan because you are not only are giving them the most unhealthy kind of things in the world, carcinogenics, you are betraying their trust of you because they are currently filled with compassion for animals and love for them. Do not take that away from them. That is at their core. That's their instincts, and they should have a right to continue that forever. Tell them the truth. Show them dominion. Show them and see what they say to you and say, Dad, I don't want to pay for this anymore. I don't like what happens to animals. They're my friends. I want to protect them. If you don't want to show them, just tell them. Okay? But don't force them to not be vegan. You're forcing them to be a carnist. A vegan is just a normal person who doesn't hurt animals. That's like saying you can't force your child to not stab dogs. You can't force your child to protect dogs. No, but you guide them to do what's right, right? Put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment, and share. That's like a trigger person having a meltdown all by themselves in the car alone. Beeping as they go past, can't get eye contact.
Isn't it funny how being vegan is the only injustice where the person who's removed their participation is labelled?
Yeah, and I think that's where people are so confused. The vegans shouldn't be labelled, it should be the animal abusers who are not vegan who should be the labelled. Like in any other injustice, those who are racist, they're the racist. And then there's the normal people, okay? This injustice, the words are like different. We're the vegans. We're the ones who don't hurt anyone, okay? We're the ones who don't oppress animals. You're the carnists. You're the animal abusers if you are not vegan, but you may not know yet. This is also an injustice, though. The only injustice that you've ever had put upon you and forced upon you that you don't even know you're paying for, okay? When you're racist, you know you're being racist, okay? That's an action in front of your face. When you're not vegan, you don't understand your consequence of your actions by not being vegan. They're killing animals here, they're experimenting on animals here, they're using them bullfighting, horse racing, greyhound racing, literally testing on beagle puppies, enforceable impregnation on cows, on chickens, turkeys, pigs, force them into gas chambers and slaughterhouses and stabbing them. Then there's the marketing that lies to you. The marketing's here to cover up the industry. Then there's the vegans who are trying to defend it, and the people who are currently not vegan are thinking the vegans are crazy, whereas actually we're just talking about the industry that are lying to you. That's why you think vegans are extreme, because we're talking about this industry. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, share, comment. Please ask questions. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now in collaboration with Animal Aid today. I'm here to defend animals. I'm not here to hate on you guys. I'm here to defend the defenseless. I'm here to defend grieving mothers from the dairy industry, cows from the beef industry who are just babies themselves. Every single animal that you consume is a baby who didn't want to die. Behind me there's about to be a truck that comes outside where I filmed those animals. You know those dairy cows I filmed that were on here a second ago? This truck is now leaving empty. No more animals on. Because he dropped them off to be killed. He dropped them off to be slaughtered, to be stabbed in the throat. Oh, mind your back. He dropped them off against their will. Shame on you! How dare you do this to animals? How could you do this? Just like a young kid been indoctrinated by parents, by animal farmers to do this themselves. Every single cow that gets taken in here gets stabbed in the throat for dairy, for cow's flesh. If you want to eat somebody's body, then go and dig up the graveyards, because that's what you're doing. When you walk into Tesco's and you walk down the meat section, you're walking down the morgue. It's a morgue. It's frozen body parts. It's chilled body parts of individuals who wanted to live. That have had red blood, by the way, poured over them, because actually when they come out, they're actually grey. But to make them more appetising to you, they'll make sure that they're red and brighter. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share.
Who are we here with today? What are we doing? Are we here just to rage bait people?
Absolutely not. We talk with passion and fury because I've been stood here listening to the cries of victims screaming for their life behind these gates of evil. I know what happens on the inside of these places, but you don't yet. I'm not here to hate on you. I'm here today in collaboration with Animal Aid, who have done investigations on multiple slaughterhouses around the UK, including this one itself. Go to the link in the description and see for yourself the investigations. You will be shocked to see what these dear animals, these childlike beings face daily.
Midge, thank you very much for your super thanks. Midge put, I'm so undecided. I absolutely applaud your passion. Midge sounds like they were on the fence.
Midge, thank you so much for being so open. I understand that by my words, it doesn't do the animals justice. Unfortunately, no words that I have in my language can explain to you what the animals face. Please go and watch Dominion on YouTube. That's Dominion on YouTube. It's got a thumbnail of a baby cow and a black thumbnail called Dominion. Watch that. It's about an hour and a half, because when you truly know what happens, a standard, you then know why vegan. If you're undecided, please make a promise right now that you won't pay for any animal products until you've watched that documentary. No more animals to go to slaughter for you, because before I knew, I wish I knew sooner, when I wish I knew sooner, so I didn't partake in this violence. These are mother cows going in here for dairy. These are mother cows have their babies taken away from them. The males don't produce milk, so they're taken away and killed. Male chicks in the egg industry are classed as a waste product because they do not produce eggs. So they were also put inside a macerator or a blender on day 1 of life in a gas chamber, or they're put inside a bag, got suffocated to death. Pigs at 6 months old, what people call bacon are just piglets at 6 months old who have been forced inside a CO2 gas chamber. I've listened to their screams and their screams for mercies outside these gas chambers myself. We both have. We've been there. We've taken a non-vegan there actually, and he went vegan. In fact, go and look at our main channel. It's Mel and Steve, a purple icon, same as the icon on this channel, but the purple icon. We've done investigations. We've gone to the free-range farms. We've gone to these award-winning farms. Horrific. I have sleepless nights now. About what I have seen inside those places. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Make sure you subscribe, and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share. I'm at a slaughterhouse today, but there's slaughterhouses all around the world who have animals screaming for their lives right now. Every single animal needs you. They depend on you. This war can be over when you choose to be vegan and defend them. Please go and watch Dominion on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, message us on Instagram at Ismail and Steve, and we'll see you on the next live stream.